Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi CHULLIN Daf Nun. We begin 11 lines off the top of the Amud with a halacha Tanya. We have a brayso, Rabban Shimon Gamliel Omer. B'nei Me'ayin. So we have these intestines which have a hole. Shenikfu, they got a hole. V'leicha, and there is some mucus, thick mucus that's plugging it. So smasan, plugging the intestines. It's okay because that plug affects a proper seal, which allows the animal to live okay. My lecha. Now, which mucus, which type of liquid are we talking about? Any liquid? Amrav Kahana, only the thicker one. Shirka Dima'aya, the really thick mucus that's stuck to the walls of the inside wall of the intestine. The nafik, which can be squeezed out agaf ducha, if you squeeze it out, like with force it out, then it comes out. So it's a rather, thick consistency, and that in fact can make a proper plug, a proper seal to close up the hole in the intestines. It says the Gemara, Gmiri Chavraya the Rabbi Abba. So Rabbi Abba's colleague learned from him. Rabbi Abba. Umari, what was his name? Rabbi Zera. Some say actually the other way around. Chavraya the Rabbi Zera. Rabbi Zera's colleague learned from him. Umani, who was the friend? Rabbi Abba. Okay, so what's the halacha? Amar Rabbi Abba bred Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia bar Abba. Hachi Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, that's the halacha. As we just said, the halacha follows Rabban Shimon Gamliel when it comes to betreifa. When it comes to the treifa question just discussed, that the mucus can actually plug it and seal it properly and remove any treifa issues. That's number one. Secondly, the halacha follows Rabbi Shimon, like Rabbi Shimon, in matters of avelos, of mourning, ba'evel. What exactly? We'll talk in a minute. So the first thing is halacha of Shimon with treifa. As we just said, the plug in the intestines. We follow Rabbi Shimon when it comes to be'evel. He referring to what halacha? This now we have a mishnah. So a relative was unaware of the passing of the death, and he showed up within the first 3 days of the shiva. What happens? Can he just latch on to their count, or does he have to start counting anew? It depends. If he came from close by, if he was within a day's distance, so he's close enough, and he can sort of connect to this track. Just count along with them, connect to their latch on to their track, to their account. He need not start from number one. If he came from a distance beyond 1 day's travel, he's his own track, and he has to start his shiva count from today. All this is if he shows up rather early in the week. But if it's past 3 days, even if he was close by, he runs his own system. He starts his own fresh count, starts from number 1 till 7. That is Tanakam. Rabbi Shimon Omer, there's no cutoff point. Even on the 7th day, the last day of the shiva, he shows up from close by. He just connects to their account. That's a big leniency. That's Reb Shimon's shita, and that's how he paskin. Amar Mandhu. There was a certain student in the Beis HaMedrash whose name was unknown at this point. So Rabbi Anonymous said, I wish I can be zoicha ve'esak and travel up ve'agmar l'shmait mipumidamar, and actually hear this halacha from the actual source. So in fact, he traveled up there to Yisrael, Kisolok. When he went up there, Ashkech, he found the source himself. Ashkech Rabbi Abba, Breder Rabbi Bar Abba, who was the one who told us that we paskin like Gamliel, we paskin like Reb Shimon, right? So he said, okay, great, let me ask the source himself. Amar lei, so he asked Rabba, is that so that you actually said this? Amar Mar, did the master say halacha? The halacha adopts the opinion of Rav Gamliel when it comes to matters of betreifa. Amar lei, he says, you got it right, except for one word. Ha, ein halacha amri. I had said the halacha does not follow his shita. Next question. Is it true that you said that we follow like Reb Shimon? We follow Reb Shimon when it comes to Avelus? Right? Okay, so again, he said, Amar lei ha ein halacha amri. What about Reb Shimon ba'aval? What about that? Is that true? Amar lei, he says, plugged in. Actually, it's not so simple. There's a machlokes how the halacha follows. The itmaz we learned. Rav Chizda Amar halacha like Reb Shimon. V'chein Amar Rabbi Yechon halacha like Reb Shimon. Rav Nachman Amar ein halacha. And the Gemara concludes, V'ein halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel betreifa. When it comes to the plugged intestines, we do not follow Reb Shimon Gamliel's leniency. So the lecha, the mucus, cannot really make a proper seal. However, when it comes to the second point of Avelus, we do take the lenient approach of Shimon's approach, that even if he shows up on day 7, he can connect to their account. Why? That Shmuel teaches us, halacha k'divrei mekel be'evel, when it comes to matters of Avelus, which is Rabbanan. There is a difference in opinion. We adopt the lenient approach, like in this case as well. Amar Rav Shimi Barchi, makifim, we can compare b'bnei me'ayim when it comes to matters of bnei me'ayim of intestines. Meaning, let's say there's the hole is a bnei me'ayim, but you're just not sure. When did it happen? Did it occur before shchita, in which case the animal was a treif, or perhaps it occurred afterwards? Post shchita, so it's okay. So we can, in order to verify, we'll make another hole next to it and compare it. Compare the hole, compare the color. Compare the appearance of both holes. And if they're similar, if they're alike, then you know both happened after shechita, and then the animal's kosher. You can do that. In fact, there was a story. How do bnei me'ayim do these bnei me'ayim? Just like the Rava that were brought to Rava with a hole. Akfinu. So he made another hole nearby, compared it. Lo yidamu. And they were this similar. So he was about to render the animal treifa because apparently the first hole happened before death, before, while the animal's alive. Before he got a chance to do that, also Rav Misharshir, his son of Rava, showed up, and he says, 1 second, he took the intestines and he started fingering it and handling it. Vidamu, now, the new hole, in fact, looked exactly like the old hole. Because of the handling, it changed its color. Now they both look the same. Amar Leser, Rava asked the son, who taught you this trick? How do you know this? Amar Leser says, what do you mean? It's plain logic. Kama yadi, look, how many hands, how many people were involved? Were passing this thing around before it got to you? Kama yadi, mish meshubahani, how many hands were touching, were handling this material? Before it was brought to you, to the Rav, to the Shafar Shaila. So I knew in order for it to be a fair test, you have to put the new hole through the same experience. And now it's a fair comparison. Amar so his father was impressed. He says, Chak and Bri, my son is as wise in matters of treifa like Rabbi Yechanan, who was wise in all matters. But treifa is Rabbi Yechanan. Another halacha regarding comparing. Just like we compare two holes, Ibn Me'ayim, we do it the same in the lung, the same in the trachea. Rabbi Yechon, Rabbi Lazar, they both said, Amrit Habayu, Makifim Bereya, we do the same comparative test when it comes to a hole in the lung, to determine whether the hole was there before or after Shechita. Amar Rabbi Lemar, it's only true, Ela Ba'isa Ruga. If you make the test hole on the same row of lobes, so it's the same environment, it's a fair test. Aval Me'aruga La Ruga. But if you're going to make a hole on the other side to determine the hole on this side, that's a different environment, different circumstance. You can't really compare. You can't use that as a determinant. Aval me'aruga la'aruga. The halacha is it's close enough. It's in the same lung. It doesn't matter. Even if you're going to do it on both sides, it's okay. But that's only if it's lobe to lobe. Medaka ladaka. You know, the lung is comprised of umois and unais, right? The uma is the base, the large sections on bottom. The unais are the lobes on top. So it has to be a fair comparison. It has to be lobe to lobe or uma to uma. You can't compare one to the other. Medaka, if there's a hole in the lobe, in the flab, ladaka, you make a hole next to a different flab, that's fine. Umigasa lagasa, there's a hole in the uma, the big chunk. So you could make a similar hole in a similar type of circumstance. You can't mix and match the lobes and the umais. So if you have the hole in the gasa, you can't compare it to a hole in the daka. Or a hole in the daka cannot be compared to a hole in the gasa. That's not a fair comparison. What about a similar method regarding a damaged trachea? They both said, yeah, they both teach us makif and brakani. You could do the hakafa, this comparative test regarding a slit trachea as well, to determine whether it was there pre-shchita or only developed after shchita. It's only true within the same environment. Chulya is a set of 3 rings. We know the trachea is comprised of rings of cartilage, which don't circle completely, right? They make a sort of a 3/4 circle, and then within them there's a tube of some tissue, which is a full circle tube, which connects and closes up the incomplete circle of the cartilage, right? So there are these chulyas, there are these sets of rings. A chulya is comprised of 3 rings. So within that same set of 3 rings, it's close enough, it's a similar environment to make this match up. You can't make a hole in this chulya compared to the chulya on the other side. The halacha is it's still close enough. You can compare one chulya to the other to determine. However, now the chulya is where the cartilage is thick, but once it starts thinning, and certainly once you have only the tissue, that's called bar chulya. It's sort of outside of the main primary chulya area, the main ring area. So you have to be fair in your testing. You have to match it up with a hole in a similar setup, right? So again, chulya is the thick part of the ring, and then bar chulya is what thins out, and you have the tissue on bottom. So a hole on top should be compared to another hole on top. A hole on bottom to another hole on bottom. You shouldn't mix them up, right? The bar chulya, the hole on bottom compared to another hole on bottom. Avaloi, but you can't cross match. Avaloi mechulya, a hole on the chulya cannot be compared to bar chulya to a hole on the tissue side, and vice versa. Avaloi bar chulya, the chulya can't compare a hole on the tissue side to a hole on the thick cartilage area because they're different materials. It's not going to really be a fair comparison. Amar Ziri. Chal choles. So that's the final section of the intestines, which expels the waste. Shenikva. They got a hole. Ksher, it's okay. It's still okay because it has proper support, backup support. The thighs, right? The bones on the side support it. Mamidei soisa. They support it and protect it. V'kama. How big can that hole be and still be legal? Amar Biloy, Amar Yechon, depends. Makam Adavik, where the chachelas is attached. But Ruba, even if most of it is damaged, that's okay because it's fully backed up by the surrounding, structure. But Shalei Makamai Hadavik, where the chachelas sort of hangs free without proper flush support, but even a small hole is a problem. Amar Rabban made the Rabban presented this distinction to Rava. Mishmei, the name of the Rav Nachman, as the Rav Nachman was the one who said this. Omar, he says, no, I've already told you in the past. Don't attribute unsubstantiated halachas to Rav Nachman. Don't hang on to him. Don't attribute to him. We turn Talmud Bavli. Buki Sriki, empty containers, empty pitchers. Don't blame it on Rav Nachman. I have a proper, accurate quote from Rav Nachman. Nachman actually said differently. Makam Adavik, where the chachelas is attached and connected and supported properly. I feel until kuli kosher, even totally gone, it's okay because it has that backup protection. Provided there's a little handful there, a little drop left. How much is that? Rashi says is a etzba, a finger's worth, just a little pinch. Betur, even a large bull, that's enough to be machshir the animal. Okay, keres apnimis. So Mishnah teaches that the inner stomach, which gets a hole, makes it a treifa, but the keres hachitzona, the outer one, it's not as delicate, and over there you need much more damage to render a treifa. Now, what exactly is the pnimis? What is the chitzona? We have many interpretations coming up. So first comes Amar Vidam Rav, and he relates that Hayed Nasan Bar Shila testified, and who was he? He was the expert in Tzipori. Reish Tabochayed Tzipori, the head butcher in Tzipori. He testified lifnei, in front of Rabbi, in the name of Mishum Rabbi Nasan. Okay, what exactly is? What is this keres apnimis? Sanya, the part that's hated, the attacking wolves. Keep away from this little back pocket of the stomach there, because of its undesirable content. Deviate, it trickles. So when they shecht it, they puncture and they trickle out the content. And sanya deviate. So that's considered the keres apnimis. Apparently, it's more delicate than the rest, and even a small hole, a puncture, makes it into a treifa. So that's one approach. Rabbi Shmuel Amar is tumcha de karsa, a different area in the stomach. And Rashi says, actually, I'm not sure what this is. Veini yadei mau. Okay, next. Rav Asi Amar B'Yechanan, quotes Rabbi Yechanan. It's the narrow part of the stomach. Mokum sar yesh b'keres is a narrow area in the stomach. Veini yadei is, I'm not sure where it is. So we have a partial identification, but not a full clarification on that. Amar Nachman Bar Yitzchak. So what's the point? Nafal karsa b'bira. So if we don't really have a proper description, then it's an expression. Nafal karsa, the stomach fell into the bira, into the pit. Basically, what good is it if we don't know where it is? Nafal karsa b'bira. Amar b'achabar Ava Amar Asi. I'll explain to you what he meant to say. It's a very specific area in the stomach, from where it starts narrowing in the ribs towards the front of the animal, right? Lamata, towards the front, towards the food pipe, towards the neck. That is the area that he was referring to. Now, why is it called lamata? Because when you hang the animal from its hind legs, so that's going down, lower down. Okay, so that's the keres apnimis, which the Mishnah refers to. So that explains what Rabbi Yechanan had in mind. The narrowing is min hameitzer lamata. Rabbi Yaakov Bar Nachmani Amar Shmuel, he has another description. Makom she'ein by milas, a different area. It's the part of the stomach which is free of these fibers hanging off the wall, which typically is there on the inside of the stomach, and this part doesn't have it, and that's called keres apnimis. Rabbi Avina Amar Gniva Mishmei, the name of the Rav, that it's actually the last section of the food pipe, closest to the tefach, closest to the stomach. That's called keres apnimis. Tefach veshet, samach lekeres, the last tefach of the veshet near the keres. Zui, this is the keres apnimis. Next opinion, Amri Marav, and Eretz Yisrael, they quoted Mishmei, the name of Teresa Ruchanina, Kol keres kuloi. Zui keres apnimis. The entire stomach is called keres apnimis. So what is the chitzayna then? Veizeu keres achitzayna. That's the flesh that enwraps the stomach. Basar achayfes reva keres. That's called the chitzayna. Next pshat, Rabba barafun amar mafrata, the exposed part of the stomach. What does that mean? Mafrata amar avyecha the paritafchi. When you hang the animal, you open up the stomach. Whatever is there and gets exposed is included in this category of keres ha'apnimis. And as we're going to see, this pretty much covers everything. The sanya divi, the itztumcha, it's all open and exposed at this point. So we have many opinions in terms of what it is, how did we do it in practice? B'nahar Da, in that town, Avdi Rabbi Bar Huna, they did like Rabbi Bar Huna. Omar Rav Ashi la Meimar Siesta Meimar. Okay, that's only one opinion. How did they discount the other opinions? Kal Nishmaitza Mai. What to do with the other opinions? Omar Leisi says they're all included. Rabbi Bar Huna's approach was a broader approach, which covers pretty much everything. Omar Le Kulu Shaykhan, the other locations, the other opinions, are really all included and covered in this last the Rabbi Bar Huna. Now, Udrav Asi Amar V'Yechon Mai. What about that opinion? Who said Makim Tsarish Bekeres, which leaves us pretty much hanging. We don't know where that is, right? So how do we address that? Amalei says that had already been explained. We already confirmed where that is, and that's also included in Mafrata. Amalei Kfar Pirsha was already explained by Rav Acha Bar Ava. Okay, what about Udrabi Avina, who says that it's the part of the Veshet, right? What about Udbnei Marava? They said that it's a totally different area. Amalei says, so what do you do with that? Amalei says, you're right, these are not going to jive with Naharda, the practice in Naharda. You can't win them all, you can't cover it all, but for the most part, it covered, the majority of opinions in terms of what it is. Amalei Hani Vade Pliga, certainly these opinions will not be consistent with the Bnei Naharda. Okay, so all this is regarding the hole in the Keres HaPnimis. Mishnah says, Keres HaChitzonim, what makes it a treifa? If it's mostly ripped, right? So back on the Mem in the Mishnah, Keres HaPnimis shenikva, or shenikra Reva Chitzonim. If most of the outer keres was ripped, was damaged, that makes it a treifa. That's the Tanakama. Rabbi Omer, he says, no, it's not always dependent on roiv. It depends how big the animal is. Hakdoila tefach by a large animal, a rip of a tefach, vaktana baru by a small animal, if it's mostly ripped. Now, what exactly does this mean? What does big mean? What does small mean? How do you define that? Amar ben Yamar bar Yefes, Amar b'las, like gdoila mamish. The term gdoila isn't necessarily speaking about the largest sized animal. Likewise, when we say small, it doesn't mean the smallest of the small. Ella, rather, how do you define big and small in this case? It's all relative to its stomach size. Ella, kol shenikra bar tefach. The animal's big enough that even after experiencing a tear of a tefach, it still does not consist of most, doesn't cover most, so the stomach is rather large. Zui sheshanina, on this we learn Bigdoila, that by a large animal it's a tefach. That's enough to make it a treifa. On the other hand, if it's small enough that ruba will have a tefach, that it's mostly cut, it still hasn't yet reached a tefach, so it's that small. On this we learn the second part of the statement. Baktana baruba, in this case, roiv makes it a treifa. Ask the Gemara, well, ruba will have a tefach. Why even go into this discussion? I mean, if it's mostly cut, even without a tefach, of course it's treifa pshit. I mean, we know roiv, right? Throughout the entire Torah, roiv is considered like the full thing. So the Moitricha must be speaking to Havi Tefach b'mashu. Rashi learns, what it means is that if you go a bit past 51%, a bit past the roiv, you've reached the tefach. So it's that close. Well, the time perhaps I would think you have to get to the tefach. That's the minimum tier to make it a treif. Ad the mikra tefach, until you get a tefach torn, well, you have a treif. It's not a treifa. Kamash malon. So the point is, no, roiv is enough. Taisus says, and Rashi has a different shot. Okay, Amar Geniva, Amar Basi. So this tefach requirement. What about if it's a nikdura kesela? It got a hole, a round hole, and it's missing material, the size of a coin of a sela. That's also a treifa. Why? Even though it's not a tefach long, look, because you can stretch it, you can pull it, because a hole of this size, if you would pull it and stretch it, Tamid al tefach will become a tefach long, and therefore it's considered a treifa. Rabbi Chia bar Abba, he says like this: L'didi mifashal imnei d'kniva. Kniva explained to me where on the bridge of Nahar a maber Nahar kesela kshera. If it's just a sela in size, that's okay. It just squeaks through. It's okay. Yasam kesela treifa, but it's bigger than a sela. In that case, it's too far gone. It's treifa. What's considered more than a sela? How much? Rav Yosef, I'll give you a more very defined shir. You go in the island class kashiyaisa. It's the hole is large enough that you can push through 3 kashiyaisa. These are pits of a date. Pitzipa, which still has some food remnant on it, so it takes up more space. But durka, as long as it could squeeze it in, even if it needs to be pushed through, if you can make it through side by side, that's already too far gone. But if it has no food remnant on it, it's just a clean pit, 3 of them side by side, if it slides through the hole cleanly, easily, then you know the animal is a treifa. Okay, let's recap today's stuff. We have the chiddush that ibnei ayin, they have a hole, they can be plugged up and sealed properly by the lecha, by this thick mucus. There was a question in terms of how do we paskin. We ran into another halacha regarding avelus as well. Over there we paskin lekula, as Shmuel tells us. Regarding avelus halacha, we always go with the mekel. We learned about makifin, comparing, matching up holes in the bnei ayim, and the lungs, on the trachea, and doing it in a fair sound manner, so that it's a proper comparison and it's a proper fair test. We spoke about the chalchelas that got damaged. What is the share on that? We discussed the keres apnimis that got a small hole, which makes it a treifa. What exactly is that? We discussed the keres achatzoina as well. The Tanakama shita and Rabbi Shita as well. Okay, all the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.